about Ben Mazer. It's all about him, by the way. I have known Ben since he's my one of my oldest friends, and he introduced me very much, along with Philip, to American poetry, English language poetry, and you know, we came from Russia, and we lived around and in the community of Russian poets. It's a very different stuff. In general, it's a very different stuff going on in Russia with the poetry. Like Solzhenitsyn said, I'm proud to be born in a country where a poet can get a death sentence for writing a poem. And that's very crucial. You know, it's a very big distinction between American poetry and what it allows itself, which is great, I mean, to make life part of poetry. But when I met Ben, I knew exactly why I was in America, because I realized there are people, it doesn't matter where you live, their brain is made in such a way, in such a dramatically different way, and in such a dramatic way, that basically you can get a death sentence for your poem, whether you are, you know, safe politically or not. So there is this type of mind, what we call existentialism, if you want. No matter where you're born and how you live, you're always on the verge. And that's his poetry that makes me sometimes laugh, sometimes cry, and it's a verge poetry, it's a marginal poetry, it's a real existentialist poetry. So he's an amazing poet, and really my favorite American contemporary poet. He, just a few details like from his bio, he's really well published, despite his horrible temper. He manages he managed in his life to screw up, to fuck up basically every possible kind of advantage. Like whatever he could move, you know, whatever, and that's again, it's a great sign of a real poet. He quarreled with the most promising editors. I will not tell you the stories if you want one day. I wrote about him. He doesn't know. I have a story about him in my new collection of stories, but where he is a big character, and wonderful things are said among horrible things. He's a real thing, and belatedly he was published because he didn't give a damn. He was published by Penton and Anvil. Zach was here but disappeared. Hopefully he's not freezing kind of somewhere in the streets, but his publication, Penton and Anvil, published Ben in 2010. He has poems, forthcoming kind of edition, new poems coming in spring. Yeah, from Penton and Anvil. Yeah. Also, he is an editor. Very altruistic job. Nobody needs it really, but he's the editor of a complete edition of Joe Crow Ransom, wonderful poet. And Ben is a hero who kind of put together all his poems, commented, and this is a unique edition, Harvard Press. And another thing is I wanted to mention, he is an editor of critical edition, poetry and literary criticism, essays, Philip's wonderful, amazing essay on poetry and Rilke and translations, Battersea Review. So welcome, Ben Mazer.
Thank you. That's
you don't need to read it.
Broken blossoms. An old Chinese master, coiled like a snake in a wicker basket, sits and smokes his opium pipe somewhere near the docks, where rain floats upward, the prisoner of silk smocks, to be his dream, who twists the golden locks of a nubile and itinerant girl who fascinates him, every curve and curl. Although she sits at his feet, the closest memory is the dingy street outside their solace, where darker grays repeat the threatening world. His nails are long and pearled. The critical theory of the future is hurled through muted rain and can't survive this stain. The world is concrete, narrow, hard, and plain. Yet rushing tonight, a hero somewhere stays not far nearby to serve such luck as stays time to its chain. And loud applause, the luckless dim refrain of massive silence, fills the whole world's brain to follow him and nothing as they are. The faceless crowds. His efforts know no gain, the night bring on. These separate episodes are comic in their endless finite modes. Two solitudes converge along paved roads to carve and quarter night. He lost the fight, but somehow won the millionaire's esteem. The luminous emotions tear and teem through causeways of the night's divided fate. The snows of yesteryear. As sweet as Shakespeare, snow fills the skies, outside as people fill the restaurant, for warmth, the fire burning before wartime. Elbows down, look in each other's eyes, past sweaters signifying conjoinage to these clubs, where water drifting from the roof receives a resistant glance besides its glimmering, cut to the point, past oriental figures, tablatures, the lion's call, the thumping trumpets of spring, the winter's watermark, in all the delicacy of their military splendor, and business as usual to the crowds for the trains. Dawn walks you home the insatiable glut of moonlight through curtains gauze-like on the drawn-out lamps. They climb like stairs to deposit at the shelf of consciousness, fizzling like champagne, their leaning light of yearning. They talk, the logs roll, whistle, crackle, fall into the fire of their heated huddle, knowing the years and the moose on the wall, like many a strutter, cluttering the same point, yet not for us. Peninsulas of sense, they urge us not to speak, indexes of the outer mountains weep the tears of Thor. He takes her home and shuts the Buick door. There is no magazine that exists to publish this collateral obeyance to the hods of manufacture, but the morning wakes to find them stacked bright and right in collegiate trim, familiar in flight patterns with passers-by, and only a stiff mustache or a stiff drink past political irrelevance in the larger scheme of our time. Yet Macy's or the LaGuardia Airport compete concentrically and yet elude the late night bus terminal in Brattle Square, an invitation to the Buckman Tavern, like Rhett or Scarlet disappearing and reappearing as you have leaned before a moonlit shrine in gossamer surprise, settled and distillful. All the names slashed and the codes of honor that took the hoofbeats of your horny voice are mixed within a dream, a Freudian wish, and stand like bankers in the day at Harvard, hobbled and homely, one vast precarious din in the ears as texts pass for the state of knowledge, hovering supertemporally over the universe. Seen through the elbows, the waitress and the goblets, the snow injudiciously spreads the laughter of yesteryear, and the hard decisions are strawberry phosphates of atomic fact. The silver hound leaps, while you are always ordering spaghetti. Manifesto. Spring comes, perspective splinters in the air where no one looks, where pages closed unread compete with walls and gardens, curbs, a gate, a slant of light, masked shadows disparate, irreflective to no one at all, bursting the sap in the arrivist's heart. A brittle sheet, creased, crumpled manifesto, and memories awaken in the dead in glints of lean, discontinuous volubility that dries the hot air to the crinkling sea, rises like ghosts on spring and summer nights to deeper chatter, magnetic below the ground, the common dwelling of hallucinated sound. Also, they may sink along the wall until the eye sees anything at all, and the whole spectrum through a green leaf splays just at the window, hailing all your days. The very wall that stops the shadow is it. A retired drunkard, reprobate, who stood this way not very long ago, watches the youth for individual signs of what the ages taught the world to know, and gets him drunk on his old favorite wines. His university, where he was interred for the duration, mingles love and patience, remembers drinks by bombed-out railway stations, and paints a grand incitement philosophe and redivivus with an expert hand. The very young play Shakespeare on the green in an enclosed garden, past the hours until the evening collects its densities, where luminous in the dark all passions harden. Not her, were very ghosts ago, who have unspooled the hours of the day, stand tall and walk incalculable in grief through thousands of perspectives like Montecrief. The broken bottles underneath the shed revive a distant quarrel in a broken bed, and puffs of clouds, floating like merchant ships, decline the will the faded photograph saps. Crevices of shadow fall between two buildings, drowsing in shadow their fin de siècle gildings. Time seemed from far, from many vantages, falls silent in attics, in the unopened pages, which climb the trees in all the youthful stages, with histories of molasses and of tar, unspoken in the breezes where you are. Their repetitious circling assuages dumb histories. The cyclops in his lair, and by a mere reversal of misfortunes, revive the bard's significant distortions, as who should suffer by a wrought iron rail that up above two spinsters' eyes assail. Desert poem. After all, it was a simple thing to concentrate attention in the air, to where new budded flowers filled the spring with deference, desire, and with care. The desert must have been a beautiful excursion, hot winds blowing in her hair, with scents to carry back to where you will the evening moments, classical and still. Throbbing such revelations as you dare. Mark thus the twain so imminently torn, as to deposit gazes on the sill, where all is glass, beside a double moon, where both the past and future are outworn. What is that jingle, some insipid tune, cavorting through the melody of words? And should the morning come too blessed soon, what inquiry could be put to the birds that harbor light, corrupt these formulas, that splay what is, disfiguring what was, in the event, relinquishing the cause? Cirque des Trois. And after all is made of frozen waste, of snow and ice, of boards and rags, if I should see one spark of permanent, one chink of blue among the wind-blown slags, approaching thus and mirroring my surmise, one liquid frozen permanence, your eyes, should meet you at the end of time and never end, for always, even past death, you are my friend. And when at last it comes inevitable that you shall sit in furs at high table, for what other fate can one expect, dispensing honors, correlating plans, for every cause, for education, science. What will I miss? How can I not be there? Who see you sputtering wordless in despair, as I do now, miss nothing, nothing. And to know you are some other man's, the stupid jerk who once had your compliance. And do these things ever end, and if so, where? I ask myself, and should I feel despair, to know, to love, to know, and still not care? In winter, spring, and summer, and in fall, on land or sea at any time at all, to know that half the stars on each night shine, the other half are in your eyes and mine, and what is there? And what I ask, is there? Only these hurt and wounded orbs I see, nestled against a frozen, stark brick wall, and there are you, and there is me, and that is all, that is all. How from this torment can I wrestle free? I can't, for thus is my soliloquy. And you shall sit there serving backers' tea, and running ladies' circles. Think of me, when like a mountainous waste, the night's long dreaming stretches to a farther coast, where nothing is familiar. Two paths that may have crossed discover what had long been past recall, that nothing's really changed at all, that we are here. Here among flowering lanterns of the sea, finite, marking each vestige of the city with trailing steps, with wonder and with pity, and laugh and never say that you feel shitty, are one whose heart is broken like this ditty, and think that there is nothing there to miss. Think, I must not miss a thing, I must not miss the wraps, the furs, the teaspoon, or the kiss, and end in wishes, and leave not this abyss, for all is one, beginning as it's done, never forgetting this, till I am no one. There is no formula that can forget. These eyes pierce, though 10,000 suns have set and will keep setting. Now tuck in your head, the blankets folded, and lay down in your bed, and stir the stars long after we are dead. I'll just read one more. Epilogue. It is youth that understands old age, and your repulsion is but a projection, an image of the loathing you obtain. I've seen the fall come in and think I shall follow each leaf that winds about the house to where you stutter, the end of the tether, where grace walks through the bridal foliage, and no one could mistake you for another. After that, they are only leaves to burn. And when the flowers burst upon the rain, the roofs shall keep their solemn gentle witness, far from the young men who travel far to fill their noses with the autumn air. Daybreak is decent as awakening, and love is gentle, though he is no scholar. What if I filled my notebook with his words, sketched suddenly with no least hesitation? Would she return to him when it came fall, or would she sink into a bitter winter, not even counting the blossoms that are gone? How many times the autumn rain recurs to wind about the river in the evening, or fall like one great ocean in the dawn. No matter, he has had enough of her, and leaves his youth in hope of something better. A drop expresses all the flooding water. The wind instills the trees with sentiment, and no one can reverse the patter of the darkness that's enclosed within. It stares across the city in the dawn and cannot wake these shrouds of memory. Thank you very much.